The other structure for the integrated essay, structure B, has some slight differences in the body paragraphs. Let's take a look. First, of course, we need our sample text and lecture from Quick Prep Volume 3 and Track 11, Listening, and that's of course page 21 in the PDF, which are both linked below the video. Alright, the first body paragraph of structure B will give us just the reading, just the text. You're not going to mention the lecture in this paragraph. You did mention the lecture in the introduction, of course, and you will talk about it a lot in body paragraph 2, but in body paragraph 1, you're going to focus on the text. So you'll give the main idea of the reading, and you'll summarize the 3 main details from that reading. Let's see a sample of that. From the text, we learn that the Chevalier's memoir may not be completely true. This just gives us an overall, general summary of what the text said. For one, although he claimed in his book that he was a wealthy man during his time in Switzerland, there are documents which show that the Chevalier borrowed money. Okay, notice there is nothing about the lecture here, it's just about the text. And notice this, for one, we're starting a list. The next sentence will bring up the next point. Besides that, the memoir describes conversations with Voltaire in too much detail. The reading suggests the Chevalier could not have remembered those conversations so well. Okay, here we have detail 2 from the passage. Recognize that there are different words here than in the text. You don't want to copy the exact words from the passage. That does not help you. You need to use different words. Paraphrase. And finally, the text states that the Chevalier probably bought his freedom from prison rather than escaping through the ceiling. Okay, and we have our last element of the list here with finally the third detail from the reading. Body paragraph 2 will be a little bit different. This is the more important paragraph of the 2. You'll give the main idea of the lecture, and you'll summarize the 3 details from that lecture. That's very similar to body paragraph 1. But we also have the contrast. You have the relationship between the reading and the listening. Maybe it's not a contrast. Maybe it's a comparison sometimes. But it's the relationship, and that's what matters. Let's see that sample. Take a few minutes to read this, and then we'll talk about the individual sentences. Okay. The lecturer, meanwhile, dismisses the points made in the text. So the professor tells us that the text isn't true. We have that relationship between the listening and the reading, And that gives us the introduction sentence for our paragraph. She states that the Chevalier's wealth was not in cash, so he often had to take out loans until his property could be sold. This is a detail from the listening. While the reading claims the loans indicated that the Chevalier needed money, the professor's point offers an alternate possibility. Here we have the contrasts. Likewise, despite the text's doubts on the conversations with Voltaire, the professor states that the Chevalier took careful notes during those conversations and in fact was able to accurately write what was said. This word here tells us that this sentence will have a similarity to this sentence. What's similar? The lecture disagrees with the text again. So the text doubted something, but the professor states that it's not true. We have another contrast. Even the Chevalier's escape from prison can be supported with evidence, according to the professor. There are documents which show the ceiling needed repair after his escape, and no other wealthy prisoners were able to pay for their freedom. Okay, this part of the sentence here continues the contrast from the previous sentences, and below that we have some more detail. We are putting a lot of information in one long paragraph here. All three details from the lecture and the contrasts to the reading. That's why this structure is not great. It's too much information. But if you find it much more comfortable, then maybe it's a good idea for you personally. Give it a try. That's all for this lesson.